Welcome to this first episode of the Informing Choices mini-pod New Year mini-series, where we are exploring some of the technologies, ideas and developments that may emerge in 2023 that will have proven to be significant when we look back from 2033. The convergence of digital technology and habits accelerated by lockdowns and social distancing through the COVID pandemic have changed how we shop. Click and collect, scan and pay and go, the Amazon-style concept, have added choice to the options of online shopping and the brick and mortar store. The retail automation market in the US is anticipated to be driven by the growing adoption of automation technologies by major players such as Amazon and Walmart. These technologies are designed to cut down costs, drive efficiency, and enhance the customer experience. Meanwhile, McKinsey say that the UK has gone further in adopting online shopping than any of its Western peers. 20% of UK consumers shop entirely or mostly online. When Amazon first launched their Just Walk Out technology in the form of an Amazon Go store in 2018, they started a rapid development in retail checkout technology services. Since then, Amazon has evolved the offer, opening in the UK and trialled larger store formats. Likewise, other tech companies and retailers have joined the party. London has become a bit of a global testbed, with major players like Tesco, Sainsbury's and discount grocer Aldi all offering just walkout stores. So what do we see as the implications of these tech-enabled options should they be implemented wildly? We're joined by leading futurist Alexandra Whittington. Alex, what's your take on this?
Hi, Steve. I agree. This is a really interesting development that's taking place in the consumer area. And I'm really fascinated, like you, by what I call the just walk out stores. I think that's the name of the Amazon technology, where you walk into these stores and there's no cashiers, there's no checkout line. You pick things up and somehow through the magic of the smartphone and the, smart tags and whatnot, you're buying stuff without, going through the typical purchase process that we're used to. So I think that's changing not just how we shop, but how we behave in society, right? Every new technology establishes new norms, new behaviors, new cultural aspects that can't really be predicted, but we can certainly, explore. As futurists, that's part of what we do. So I've been, kind of pondering these shopping technologies, and noticing, first of all, the pandemic seems to have been a large catalyst, right? A huge catalyst for changing the way we buy stuff. I mean, we all can go back to March 2020 when we had to start ordering groceries online and picking stuff up outside the store. So it's interesting to watch how the evolution has, or should I say revolution, has taken hold, because it's taken several steps forward in a pretty short amount of time.
And I think that the thing that really strikes me as well is, as you were talking there, is this the kind of the kickstart almost that the pandemic has given, to this and lots of other technologies, and particularly the way that technologies are used. And I was particularly struck by your use of the word behavior. So, what are the kind of behavioral traits that we might see that start to shift? If we look back on 2023 from 2033, what are the behaviors that have become normal that were really kick-started in 2023?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of us who grew up in the olden days, in the 20th century, 1900s, as my kids call it, which I find so funny. That's from the 1900s. Well, something that's from the 1900s is this kind of like milestone coming of age lesson that a lot of us learn, is that when you're out in the store, you don't pick something up and put it in your pocket, right? A lot of us got scolded for that behavior when we were 5 years old, right? You think you want to take the candy bar or the gum or whatever it might be. And I think that it's interesting to see how that basic moral lesson might be taken away from us. And I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but if you can walk into a store and just walk out with whatever it is that you want or need, we have to teach kids a different way not to steal, right? We have to have other examples in life of, what's right and wrong. And it's interesting how this kind of technology, whether you have a smartphone based payment system, or if it's something that can be woven into your purse or your clothing, shipping through some kind of smart fabric where you can literally just put something in your bag and go. That's something that used to be, cause for calling security in a store, and in the future it wouldn't be. So I think that's just an interesting example of a cultural shift and how technologies can change literal, ethics, morals, behaviors, and norms.
That's a fascinating perspective. And one of the other things that particularly strikes me from a broader social perspective is how does that change the way that stores, supermarkets, or whatever might operate in that future?
Right. Well, I mean, the biggest implication there is the cashierless store, right? You won't really have these cashiers. I think these just walk out stores tend to have people working there, but they're not really there to check you out with your product. So it's there to help you point stuff out, maybe show some new products, demonstrate things. So I think it could change the employee structure of retail, first of all, but also the way the store looks, right? The size, the quality of the ambiance, you might say. I mean, it might be a place where you go hang out. It might have space for other things like a co-working or an education, maybe something tutoring or, meeting with people to have discussions or something. They could expand, what a retail space is for. Not just for buying stuff, maybe for hanging out, doing stuff. I mean, experiences are seeping into retail more and more each day. So I think that those are a couple ways, the nature of working in retail and then what happens in a retail space.
So if we're looking back from 2033 at how stores used to look in 2023, then they might look different inside because of the way that the products are displayed. Perhaps the entrance and the exit will look different because of the technology involved in replacing the checkout desks. And the staff will actually be wandering around the store, seeing what help they can provide to the customers. Feels very, very different, doesn't it? And I guess it also has an impact at the behind the store, if you like, in the way that inventory is managed, perhaps the way that inventory is restocked. There are some really interesting longer term, deeper implications of these technologies, aren't there?
Definitely. I think it's something we'll be seeing happening for a while now.
That's brilliant. Well, Alex, thank you very much for those insights. That's a really interesting perspective. Shopping in the future is going to be a very different experience.
Thanks, Steve.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. Do let your friends and colleagues know about the Informing Choices mini-pod, and there'll be another episode in this mini-series along very soon.